Hi, welcome back to question number 17. Today we are going to do the next question in the stack list, mainly daily temperatures. So for this question, they are asking for, given an array of temperatures representing daily temperatures, we want to return an answer array, right? Such that answer in I is the number of days you have to wait until the ith day to get a warmer temperature. If there is no future day for which this is possible, keep answer I equals to 0 instead. So for example, when we're looking at temperatures array here, 73, 74. So in between 73 to 74, we have 1 day before the temperature rises. Similarly, for 74 to 75, we have 1 more day before the temperature rises from 74. So at index 1, we want to put 1 here. However, when we look at 75, we need to count the number of days after 75 where the temperature is higher. So we're looking at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 76. Only 76 is higher than 75 in this array. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, we add 4 here. Similarly for 71, 69 is smaller than 71, 72 is higher than 71. So we have 2 here. So on and so forth. The last element will be 0. So this is what the question wants us to find. We want to return an output array for all the days, right? All the days, and it can range from 0 to whatever number, right? Yep. 0 to the temperature. So we're given that the temperatures I will be 0 to 100, 30 to 100. The length of the array can be very, very large. So looking at this question, I believe the first thing we would think about before even starting it, maybe it's just a brute force approach, right? We're looking at this entire question and then we have a temperatures array. How we would approach this question is, of course, to have an output array, right? And then we want to initialize this array with zeros. So let's just, in order to make this nice, let's just make this and that. Then we have this, right? And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, right? And then we have these for the temperatures that it takes. So assuming that all the temperatures, so we initialize the array. And then for each array, let's say for array 73, what we can do is for each temp in temperatures, right, we want to loop through the rest of the array to find larger temp, update index, right? So at here, what we will do is 73, we will look at index. This here I is, when I is equals to 0, we will look at I equals 0, 1 to n minus 1, right? And then we find all the different temperatures here, and then when we find 1, if I is temp, right, I length of temperatures, right? So we're looking at this. Essentially, this is what the code will look like, right? If temperatures is this, what we want to do here is immediately update my output array. Output of I to be equals to the index here. So the index here is j. For example, we have j here in the array minus I plus 1, correct? So we have output j equals I, and then we want to continue the loop to move out of the loop, right? So for here we will have this, otherwise when you exit the entire loop, right, we don't have this condition. I will just remain as 0. It means that I is the largest temperature here, right? Okay, 1 second. Yep. So essentially this is the brute force solution that would take a O(n) approach, O(n) squared, right? Brute force solution. It's a double for loop, right? Yeah. And then we just take this entire thing and do this. Okay, so essentially this should not be the solution, obviously, because this is a question and we know with some additional information that this is supposed to be a stack question. So let's think about how we can attempt this question in a different way. So when we look at this question, we can using a stack. So here we can look at this particular situation whereby we have a stack. So the question now is, what will the stack be, right? We need to think about what will the stack be. And then we have an output array, right? Let's just make this, these two are the same level, right? And then essentially when we traverse through the temperatures array, if let's start, right? So traverse through temperatures array, push into temp into stack, right? So we're looking at temp in temperatures, right? Then we're looking at this, we have a stack, we have output, we enqueue this. So what should be the first value here? Essentially when we come to 72, right? So if this is 73, 72, 74, we have 4, we can immediately update this stack to be 1, right? So when we update this stack, sorry, it should be the other way around. This should be 73, this should be 1, right? Because we know that 73 is 74. So let's just put this temperature and temperatures. No, we can't do this, right? So for I, so we essentially use the index here, which is more important than using the range itself, okay? And then we have this for I in range 0 to length temperatures. We want, so when I equals to 0, we want to enqueue 73 in to the stack, right? And then when I equals to 1, since is greater than stack.pop, peak. So we want to update the output here. We have stack.peak, we update output here as 1, then we move along, right? 74, again 74, we have, the question now is, do we enqueue, okay, let's say we enqueue this 74 here, and then we move along, right? So now we are at index 0, update. Index 0. We have got index 0 here. Now we have a stack peak. Okay, let's take a look at some of the solutions. Yeah, I guess vaguely remember this. This 74. Since temperature I is greater than stack.peak, we want to update the output here, right? And then we have output here. Stack that 73, 74. Okay, so let's just say we enqueue 74 in, and then at index 2, the second loop, right? Let's put it this way, I is here. And then let's just do this. So when I is here, I want to enqueue the next element. Okay, never mind. So initially we have output as this. Output will always be like this because we don't know whether or not there is in fact a temperature that is higher than it, right? So output is like that. And then for the stack, we will just add it in, right? 73. And now we're at 74, right? When we're at 74, how do we know that 74 is bigger than the element at 73? Because we have the stack, right? So when I equals to 1, I equals to 0, we do nothing. We add 73 to stack. I equals to 1, what do we see now? I equals to 1. We essentially, here we want to move this down. I equals to 1, compare, right? I with top of stack. Now we see that temperatures I is higher, larger than the top of stack. What does this let us know? This makes us know that we can essentially update the top of the stack. We can essentially update this as 1, right? But how do we know that, right? at this point we need to think whether or not 73 is still something we're interested in. If 73 is not something that we're interested in, we can essentially pop this away, because do we still need 73 here? I don't think at this point we need 73, because at this point we do not need 73, because looking ahead, we are only interested in larger numbers. Hence, let's just say we remove 73 from the stack. We have 74 instead, right? So we pop 73 and push 74, right? Update this, and now we move along, right? Same thing for 75, right? Since temperature I is 75 is greater than 74, this tells us that we can update this as 1, right? Update this as 1, and then we update output for this to be 75. Now we move along to 75. We have 75 here. So here is the main key difference, in that when we're at 75, we need to think. 74, we pop it out. We need to ask ourselves whether or not we want to reduce so when we're at 75, we have 71 that is less than 75. What do we do now? Right. Essentially, there's nothing we can do now because we do not know what's next. So let's assume that we just move along to 71. So now we have the stack is 75. We enqueue 71, and then we enqueue 69 into the stack. So right now we are here, 71, 75, we don't have an answer. 71, we don't have an answer. 69, we also don't have an answer. So we are adding that all to here, right? Now we are at I is essentially here, and here we are looking at the next solution, right? Looking at I here, 72, and when we get 72 here, what is the key thing to do when we get to 72? We have to say that 72 is greater than 61, right? We finally have a number. The top of the stack here is 69, right? So again, temperatures I is greater than this. We're gonna update the output of 69. We're going to update the output of 69, which is this one here, to be 1. And then we will pop 69 off the stack. And we have 71, right? Pop 69 off the stack, update output. Then we check again. 72 is greater than 71. Pop 71 off the stack, update output, right? Pop 71 off the stack, update the output. Here. Then we look at 75. Nothing happens. We still must have 75. and then we move along, right? So 69 is here, 72 we pop it into the stack. So now the stack is right, and then we have this. So now we come to 72, we come to 76. 76 is higher than both of them. So again, we come here, 76, right? 76 is higher than 72. We update this to 1. And then how do we know that 75 is? Somehow or another, we need to update this to 1. To 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry. We need to update this to 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. And then we need to update this to 4. And my stack now will be empty. We add 76 in, and then we have 73. Lastly, we have 73. When we add 73 in, nothing happens. So we leave the last two as 0. So this is essentially our answer. So yeah, I guess this is more or less the solution, with some help from looking at the solution, understanding how to do this question. But yeah, let's see how we can implement this. So I believe the first start, what we need is a result array. We can initialize, we need to return this result array, right? So let's just initialize this to the length of temperatures, right? And then same, we have stack. And now the question previously we had was that how do you know when to update the stack, right? So we need to find a proper data structure to store here within the stack instead of just the numbers themselves. So how about enqueuing both the index and the number, right? So here, instead of enqueuing 76, so what we can do instead is to enqueue something like so for example, we enqueue both the index and the value. So 0 and I range 0, range length temperatures. We'll stack here. We're looking at this, so we have IT enumerate temperatures, and then we have so we want to empty the stack until there is no stack. So we want to empty the stack compare the essentially we want to compare the elements in the stack and make sure that the temperature that we have in the stack is smaller than the temperature that we're looking at now. If it's the temperature in the stack is if the temperature in the stack is smaller than if the temperature in the stack is smaller than the temperature we're looking at, then if the temperature in the stack, here we're looking at this, right? If the temperature is in the stack is smaller than the temperature we want, then it's not is for us to update it. It's time for us to update it because one of the previous temperatures has found something that is larger than it, right? So here we want to pop the stack off. So while there's an element in the stack and the temperature right here, this particular temperature is bigger than stack.peak, right? Here we want to store a pair of temp and index, right? And then we have sec minus 1t. Looking at the temperatures, we just look at this. And then here we're looking at this sec index equals, wait, what does this do? We're looking at result stack index. We pop the temperature from the stack, right? Equals to, oh yes, so this is the number. So the current index is I. We want to remove it from I minus stack index, right? We want to do this because this is the number of times it takes for us to update ourselves from Y1 to index. Otherwise, if we're out of the entire stack, we want to append the key, which is the current index, and the temperature. This can be T, this can be I. And that's more or less it, right? The key here was that we had to store the temperature and index here. Yep. The key here is that we had to store the temperature and index here. And yeah, this was a pretty confusing question. I probably wouldn't have been able to think about it on my own without looking at the solution, but since the time is up, I suppose I will digest this question further myself. Thank you for watching, and it's on to the next question.